What if I told you that the very air you breathe, the humidity in your home, and even the cleanliness of your community could decide whether measles becomes a minor illness or a deadly crisis in old age? It sounds extreme, but it is true. Measles is not only about the virus, it thrives in specific environments. Crowded neighborhoods, damp houses with mold, polluted cities, or poorly ventilated rooms all make the virus stronger and the body weaker. For seniors whose immunity is already fragile, these conditions can turn an ordinary infection into a storm. Most people think prevention means only vaccines or medicine, but science shows that climate and community health, things we often ignore, play an equally powerful role. If you live in a damp climate, if your community faces air pollution, if hygiene is poor, measles does not just visit, it spreads like wildfire. Stay with me, because in this video we will uncover the hidden link between measles, environment, and community. You will see why seniors are most at risk, how real stories prove this danger, and what simple changes can transform homes and neighborhoods into shields of protection. Let us look closely at the science. Measles is one of the most contagious viruses known to medicine. A single infected person can spread it to 90% of those around them if they are not immune. The virus travels through droplets in the air when someone coughs or sneezes. For seniors, this means that their environment, the air they breathe, the spaces they live in, is just as important as the virus itself. Humidity and dampness create ideal conditions for respiratory infections. When homes are poorly ventilated or affected by mold, the lungs become more vulnerable. Seniors living in such environments have higher rates of pneumonia and other complications once measles strikes. In addition, cold and wet climates put further strain on an already weakened immune system, making recovery slower and less complete. Air pollution is another invisible enemy. Fine particles from traffic or industry irritate the respiratory tract, weakening its defenses. For an older adult, breathing polluted air day after day is like sanding away the protective lining of the lungs. When measles arrives, the virus finds a surface already damaged, and complications set in quickly. Crowded communities, such as senior housing, nursing homes, or densely populated neighborhoods, allow measles to spread explosively. One cough in a dining hall or community room can infect dozens. The virus can linger in the air for up to 2 hours, meaning seniors may be exposed without ever coming into direct contact with the sick person. Public health studies confirm this pattern. Measles outbreaks are worse in areas with poor housing conditions, inadequate ventilation, and limited community health care. Seniors in these areas face not only the virus, but also the compounded risks of environment and neglect. So the truth is clear. Measles is not only a biological disease, it is also an environmental disease. For older adults, every element of the climate and community, from clean air to safe housing, shapes the severity of infection. Let me take you to a small coastal town in Louisiana, where a group of seniors lived in an assisted living facility. The building was old, with leaky roofs, damp hallways, and poor ventilation. In the summer, the humidity was suffocating. In the winter, mold grew along the walls. For years, the residents complained about the conditions, but little changed. One winter, measles entered this facility through a visiting family member. At first, it seemed like a small problem, a single case in a young caregiver's child. But within 2 weeks, the virus had swept through the building. Nearly half of the seniors developed symptoms: fever, cough, and the telltale rash. For many, it quickly escalated into something more severe. Mrs. Carter, an 82-year-old with no serious illnesses, was among the first to fall ill. Her family expected she would recover easily, but the damp, mold-filled air in her room worsened her cough. Within days, she developed pneumonia. Doctors explained that her lungs, already weakened by years of living in a humid, unhealthy environment, could not resist the virus. She survived, but her recovery was long and painful. Mr. Alvarez, another resident, had lived with asthma for decades. The combination of measles and the building's poor air quality pushed his body beyond its limits. He passed away within a week of diagnosis. His family later said it wasn't just the virus that killed him, it was the place he lived in. The outbreak forced local authorities to finally act. Ventilation systems were repaired, mold removed, and staff trained in infection control. But these changes came too late for some. The community learned a painful lesson. Measles did not simply take advantage of their age, it took advantage of their environment. This story is not rare. Around the world, seniors in overcrowded or poorly maintained housing face the same risks. The virus is ruthless, but it becomes far deadlier when the air they breathe and the walls around them betray their health. What happened in Louisiana is not just a local story. It is a mirror of what happens in many parts of the world when environment and community health are ignored. Globally, measles outbreaks are most severe in regions where housing is overcrowded, air is polluted, or healthcare systems are under strain. For seniors, these factors are even more dangerous because their immune systems are already fragile. A virus that might cause discomfort in a child can become a crisis in an older adult living in a poor environment. Studies from the World Health Organization show that seniors living in polluted urban areas are more likely to suffer complications from respiratory diseases, including measles. In rural regions, lack of clean water and poor sanitation allow infections to spread unchecked, creating perfect conditions for the virus to thrive. But awareness must go deeper than statistics. Imagine two elderly women, one living in a well-ventilated home with clean air, nutritious food, and strong community support, the other in a crowded, damp apartment with no family visits and little health care. If both are exposed to measles, their outcomes will be dramatically different. The same virus, the same age group, yet one recovers quickly while the other may never recover at all. This is the essence of awareness. Measles is not just a childhood illness that has returned. It is an environmental test. The virus reveals the cracks in our homes, our neighborhoods, and our social care systems. Where conditions are good, seniors survive. Where conditions fail, seniors pay the price. Raising awareness means shifting our thinking. We cannot view measles only as a matter of medicine. It is also a matter of safe housing, clean air, community hygiene, and social responsibility. Seniors are not simply patients. They are members of a community, and their health reflects the environment we build around them. The awareness we need is urgent. Protecting seniors from measles requires protecting the spaces they live in. Without this, even the best medical care may not be enough. So what can be done? The answer is not only in hospitals or clinics. It begins in our homes, neighborhoods, and communities. Protecting seniors from measles means building environments where health can thrive. First, families must act. If you have elderly parents or grandparents, check their living spaces. Is the air clean and fresh? Is there mold on the walls or dampness in the air? Something as simple as opening windows for ventilation, repairing leaks, or placing an air purifier can drastically reduce the risk of complications when measles strikes. Clean environments strengthen the lungs, making them more resilient to infection. Second, nutrition and hydration remain critical, but these too are tied to environment. Communities should provide access to fresh foods, safe drinking water, and balanced meals in senior centers or assisted living facilities. When measles depletes the body's reserves, these nutritional safeguards can mean the difference between recovery and decline. Third, community programs must prioritize infection control. Senior housing, community centers, and care facilities should adopt strict hygiene practices, frequent cleaning, proper ventilation, and swift isolation of infected individuals. Education is key. Both staff and families must understand that measles can linger in the air for hours, and prevention requires vigilance. Fourth, policymakers and local governments must see measles prevention not just as a medical duty, but as a public health and infrastructure responsibility. Investing in safer housing, cleaner air, and community health care is not a luxury. It is a shield against outbreaks. Every dollar spent on prevention saves lives and reduces the cost of emergency treatment later. Finally, seniors themselves have a role. Awareness empowers action. Knowing that environment matters, they can demand better conditions, seek safer spaces, and practice personal measures like maintaining good ventilation at home. Their voices matter, and when combined with family and community support, they become powerful advocates for change. The call for change is this: measles in seniors is not only a test of medicine, but a test of how we care for our living spaces and each other. If we fail to act, the virus will exploit every weakness. If we act together, we can transform our environments into shields that protect life. So let me ask you, Look around your home, your neighborhood, your community. Is it protecting the elders among us, or is it exposing them? The change begins where you are. Let us close with a story of transformation. In a small Midwestern town, a senior community center once struggled with frequent respiratory infections among its residents. The building was old, the ventilation poor, and meals often lacked fresh produce. When a measles case appeared, fear swept through the halls. Families worried, doctors braced themselves, and the elderly residents felt powerless. But instead of waiting for disaster, the community came together. Families volunteered to deep clean the building. Local businesses donated air purifiers and fresh foods. The town council approved funds to repair the roof and improve ventilation. Nurses trained the staff in infection control, and neighbors organized meal deliveries rich in vitamins and protein. Something remarkable happened. While measles did spread to a few residents, the outcomes were drastically different from similar facilities elsewhere. Recovery was faster, complications fewer, and no lives were lost. Doctors credited not only the medical care, but also the environment, the clean air, the improved nutrition, and the strong community support. One resident, Mrs. Jenkins, said with tears in her eyes, "I was terrified when measles came here. But I realized I wasn't fighting alone. My family, my neighbors, even strangers protected me. That gave me strength to heal." This story is more than inspiration. It is proof. Measles may be one of the most contagious viruses on Earth, but it is not unstoppable. Its power is magnified when seniors live in poor environments. Its strength weakens when we build healthy spaces filled with clean air, safe housing, good nutrition, and human connection. So here is the truth. Measles is not only a medical challenge, it is a community challenge. And the solution lies not just in vaccines or medicine, but in how we choose to care for the spaces where our elders live. Today, I leave you with this question. Will we allow our seniors to fight measles alone in unhealthy environments? Or will we stand together, families and communities, to build the shield they deserve? Because in the end, the fight against measles is not only about saving lives, it is about dignity, respect, and love for those who have lived before us. If you believe this message matters, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you love. Together, we can protect our elders, not just with medicine, but with homes, communities, and hearts that heal.